Guten Tag. Dankeschön for inviting me to the ADFC's annual symposium.
Unfortunately, if you're seeing this video, it's because, of course, I'm not with you, but on the other side of the world in San Francisco.
And you know, even though I can't be there with you today, I would like to share a few thoughts on how cycling can play an essential role in meeting our everyday access and mobility needs. The International Transport Forum at the OECD is an intergovernmental organization bringing together 57 countries worldwide at the level of their respective transport ministries. We serve as a think tank for these countries, helping craft a global dialogue for better transport across all modes of transport: air, sea, land, road, rail, urban, and, of course, active mobility. As you can imagine, this global dialogue can be complex and challenging, as growth-inducing transport investments have also been accompanied by inefficiencies caused by congestion. And as our transport systems have helped stitch our communities and regions together and improve urban conditions around the world, they have also sometimes done so inequitably. And as we have seen mobility contribute to a fundamental improvement in human prosperity, we have also seen significant and unsustainable environmental degradation result from our mobility choices. There are no easy answers to these challenges, but there are sometimes simple solutions that contribute to ensuring better and more sustainable mobility options for all. What we need to remind ourselves is that in the cities and towns of the 21st century, one single mode of transport will not be able to fulfill our needs for access and mobility. We will need cars, more efficient, smaller, and fewer no doubt. We will need high-quality public transport, and we will need to design or reconfigure our cities to better support walking and cycling. Cycling will be essential in this mix, and it will be essential because it will be the safety valve in our 21st century cities and towns, allowing us to move freely and easily over the great number of short and medium distance trips we make every day. But it will fulfill this role only if we make it so. This is, of course, the challenge that you at the ADFC and other important advocacy organizations face every day around the world, and I would like to reassure you that you are not alone. So allow me to speak to three things today as you look to the past year and start to reflect on your work for the next year. Three things that we feel are fundamental to success in our work to make cycling part of everyday mobility for all: the serendipitous, the resilient, and the supernormal. Serendipity. Serendipity is the phenomena of looking at one thing and finding something altogether different. Cycling is fundamentally serendipitous. From the point of view of policy, local officials seek to promote cycling to help the environment, only to find that it helps the city function better and more efficiently. In many cases, as efficiently as other purportedly more rapid means of transport. Individuals start cycling to beat traffic and to reliably move about their cities, only to discover that it makes them healthier and less stressed. Overwhelmingly, when we look at the balance of health-related costs and benefits, cycling is good for health. And this may be counterintuitive to some who focus only on the relative crash risk, which, it should be said, is elevated for cyclists compared to car occupants. And there is the health impact of air pollution. Though cyclists face lower concentrations of air pollution than car occupants, they breathe more frequently and more heavily and thus register more elevated doses than those car occupants. But the greatest impact, and by far, is the positive health gain from physical activity for early mortality and morbidity and across multiple health endpoints like heart disease and diabetes, especially when people start becoming active through cycling. When looking at a common scale, the monetized benefits from improved health due to cycling are several orders of magnitude greater than the negative impacts of crashes and air pollution. From a societal perspective, this is perhaps the greatest benefit of cycling. Every kilometer cycled benefits society. And nowhere is this perhaps as important as with children whose patterns of healthy activity will accompany them throughout their life. And the stark reality is that we have not been doing well in this area. Our children today are less fit than we were at their age, and we were less fit than our parents' generation at the same age. Every decade that passes sees us collectively lose about 5% of our cardiovascular fitness, incurring a costly and deadly physiological debt. But this is a debt that cycling can help pay off, and it can do so relatively rapidly. Serendipity. We sometimes start out on a ride with our focus on the complexities in our daily lives, but as we go along, that focus fades and we simply enjoy the pleasant and simple act of feeling the wind in our hair. Cycling leads us to benefits we did not expect, discoveries we did not anticipate, and opens a window to better know ourselves. Cycling is serendipitous. Resilient. Cycling makes our cities resilient, it makes us resilient. And it makes our society resilient, sometimes under the most extreme of situations. When accommodated, cycling allows us to move quickly and conveniently through our cities, and this in turn makes our cities more competitive, prosperous, and attractive. Cycling supports resilience. When facilitated, cycling builds resilience into our daily schedules. Cycling is for those who have important things to do and who cannot afford to be late. And crucially, cycling makes our planet more resilient, supporting low-carbon mobility. Supernormal. Fish don't talk about water, birds don't talk about air, and when we succeed in the cities of the 21st century, we can only hope that citizens would no longer talk about bicycles as we do. The bicycle needs to be supernormal. That is, so ubiquitous, so banal, and so fully integrated into our lifestyles that we no longer consciously notice it. What will it take for cycling to become supernormal? That is so ordinary and widespread that it becomes an unnoticed but essential backdrop of our daily lives. It will start here. This is a man, and this is his bicycle. In many cities with relatively low cycling mode share, he is disproportionately represented in the cycling public. He is largely unafraid of cycling in traffic. Indeed, he finds on-road traffic conditions largely acceptable. In this way, he is wholly non-representative of the population at large. My advice to those cities seeking to increase cycling is to look at this man, look at him well, and forget about him. Designing policies specifically for those cyclists already cycling will not deliver the great untapped benefits of widespread everyday cycling. These are the people you need to keep in mind when designing your cycling policies. Women and children, the older and the less fit, those that have grown up here and those who have not. You'll need to focus on all of those who do not cycle now and who will not cycle in the future unless their concerns and expectations are addressed. When the demographic profile of cyclists in a city more closely matches the demographic profile of the general population at large in that city, in all respects, then you'll know you're on your way to success. To be supernormal, we must succeed at inviting a greater share of our citizens to start and to continue to cycle. And to do this, we'll have to continue to moderate the speed of cars and trucks in those parts of the city where we want to see the number of cyclists grow. We will have to provide state-of-the-art separated facilities in order to entice people to start riding, as ADFC has done recently this month, or helped to do recently this month, in Cologne. And we will have to continue to engage in a difficult but necessary conversation about how to reallocate space in our cities away from cars and towards people, including those who ride bicycles. But the deployment of cycle tracks and the extension of slow speed zones will involve arbitrations regarding street space and parking that will not always be comfortable. There will be a temptation to install cycle tracks only where it would be easy and cheap to do so. There will be a temptation to put in place speed-managed zones only where few people travel. These temptations should be avoided. Cycle tracks should be built where they are necessary, which is often where it is both difficult and controversial. Speed-restricted zones in the center of our neighborhoods, cities, and towns should be the norm, not the exception. And this is precisely where the hardest battles will be fought. But we must do so for the benefit of all. Brent Tadarian, former Director of Planning for Vancouver, has it right when he said that when we plan for active mobility, everyone is better off, including car drivers. And when we design a city just for cars, it fails everyone, especially drivers. This work will pay off in more livable cities, a more resilient economy, and a more efficient transport system. But it will only do so when cycling becomes a choice for all, especially those who are not at this conference today. I wish you the best in your work to bring them to the table, onto their bicycles, and into and around your cities made safe for cycling.
Thank you for having listened to me. I wish you the very best for your symposium today, and going forward, I can only hope that your work, our work together, will make cycling super normal. Dankeschön.
Plane, hold on.
Oh, it's a Lufthansa.